Say something profound.
We're here, and we're about to make history.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Good But Not Soft podcast. I am joined here by my co-hosts? My co-hosts. Am I a co-host or are y'all co-hosts? We're all co-hosts.
Yeah, we're all cool.
Yes.
Oh, today is a big day because we have no plans. And they told me we have no plans.
Our plan is to have no plans.
So,
We don't have anything in particular we're going to talk about in this episode, so we're just winging it.
yeah. Speaking of wings, have you...
That segue was terrible.
I had Buffalo Wild Wings last night. How about you?
I had cowboy chicken this morning.
What's cowboy chicken?
With your grandpa, actually.
Cowboy chicken.
Nice. The chicken place that they like.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar, but I
Yeah,
can't
you've been
place
there.
It's rotisserie chicken. It's pretty.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
good, yeah.
It's like, Charleston's rotisserie chicken, except for that's the only thing they serve.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Charleston's better, actually.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll
it's
keep
different.
that on the DL.
It's different. It's different.
I can be
Charleston's more. I think it's more dry.
Charleston's is?
Maybe. Maybe I've not
I
had it in a
can,
little bit.
I can
I
see
don't know.
it. I mean, it also depends.
Compared to the
It
cowboy
also
chicken,
depends.
like the cowboy chicken one is like moist and
Dry's no bueno.
yeah, it's not. But I would say compared
It's
to
like
the cowboy
sand.
chicken, it's drier. Maybe I should say because it's pretty moist chicken. What do you guys think about that word moist?
Moist. I don't have. I know someone who
people-
has an issue with it, like a real
They don't
issue
like it.
with it. But I mean, it doesn't do anything for me.
I had a professor in college who did not like the word moist.
Moist.
It just, I don't know. I think to him it was cringe.
I know someone who like.
He
growing
probably wouldn't
up-
like the word cringe either.
Yeah.
I know someone who growing up like always had to say like tummy, because their mom didn't like stomach,
Oh.
like the word stomach.
Yeah.
Okay, if you
Whatever.
say so. It's your
That was
world.
a weird little
Yeah, it is your world.
odd little rabbit trail.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we didn't really have any plans. We kind of just winging it. I had a couple ideas for some things I was going to ask these people.
Oh.
Starting with,
So he lied to me. He did have a plan.
I had some ideas that I might or might not have used if, I couldn't come up with anything better.
He definitely was planning this the whole time.
we didn't.
This is the plan.
The conversation,
unplanned
the
plan.
conversation just wasn't going well, so I had to
My
bring these out.
conversation was going amazingly.
So Ron and I recorded an episode without you, and in which
Very, very sad.
we talked about a couple things. Favorite fiction book.
Oh,
My
yeah,
favorite
yeah.
fiction book.
Favorite fiction book.
Yeah, that's good to bring up.
Oh,
And your favorite nonfiction book.
favorite nonfiction book. Okay, favorite fiction book. My mom's gonna cringe so hard. We're circling back to that one. Would probably be Thrawn.
Which one?
Thrawn. Wait, I think it's just Thrawn.
Because you have
the
like,
first one's Thrawn, then it's Thrawn Alliances, then it's Thrawn Treason.
then you have like the Chist Ascendancy and stuff like that.
See,
Anyways.
I think it's just Thrawn.
Okay, so Star Wars. Favorite nonfiction book.
Nonfiction book.
Yes, favorite nonfiction
Okay,
book.
so how technical do we want to get? Because we could, probably would be like one of the apostles,
Okay.
or we can say the Bible.
Yeah.
Not
or
counting
if
the
y'all
Bible.
don't want that. I
Not
figured
counting
we
the
might
Bible.
not want that.
Not that we don't want it.
But we're wanting to know
I
outside
figured,
of that.
yes, I figured that was too boring.
As a
Oh,
Christian,
no.
that's
Favorite.
probably
At all,
your
it's rich.
that should be your default favorite.
My,
so
my favorite.
outside of that,
Oh, I really don't know. I
Man.
honestly
Well, while you're
can't
thinking
what's a
about
couple
it.
that you really like?
Like I've read Lone Survivor, like of Plymouth Plantation, and like none of these are just like books that I'd like be like, oh yeah, you should totally read one. Like they're a lot.
Well,
Something that I'm
actually, that's a good one.
currently reading
Or
that I really enjoy that's not actually a book is Common Sense. It's
don't think I've heard of
technically a pamphlet. You've never heard of Common
oh
Sense?
no, it's the guy thinking like this, right?
No,
Oh
Ronald.
no,
You failed American history.
He's an English teacher for a reason.
yeah, I'm catching up.
What,
here
is
on
it
my
Thomas
reading.
Paine?
Thomas Paine.
Paine's Common Sense.
So it was
I think-
during
What-
the Revolution.
One of his quotes that I was like, is he's talking about like government and all that, and he's like, at its best, government is a necessary evil.
And
I'm
it's
like,
best.
wow, that's amazing.
And by pamphlet, he
Like-
means it is that big and
It's
about
actually-
that thick.
Oh no, I think I took it with me.
Yeah, it's not in here.
No, it's in my backpack. That's
Yeah.
where it is.
But it's little tiny, short read.
Man, government
and-
is a necessary evil.
It was
Say.
at its best. It's a necessary.
Yeah,
evil.
it
And
is
then
bad.
like he's
At
like
its
at worst
best.
it's like a tyrannical whatever. I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly what it
And
says,
so
but, like,
it's
it's like
as the name kind of
That's
implies,
heavy.
it was like it was during the Revolution, and there was lots of conflicting ideas, people who sided with England, people who didn't side with England and stuff, and
Yeah.
so he wrote this little pamphlet that he had printed up and distributed all over,
which is really cool
titled
because like
Common Sense.
at the beginning like
Yeah.
it's like the book like isn't written for like the glory of a person or
It was written in the everyday person's
Common
like
language.
English, just
I'll say it isn't
very
written for like the glory of a
common-
person or as something, and like the truth of the book should speak to the testimony of the book, so you don't need the author's name. So like
Yeah.
originally whenever he printed it, he wasn't associated with, or well, I think
Oh.
Benjamin Franklin helped print and distribute it, but
Yeah.
like he wasn't associated with it whenever it was
his book. His
published.
name wasn't on the book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
So-
or
one
the
of
pamphlet.
qualities
So like
right
that was
there.
pretty cool, but like
'Cause he would've
he talks
gotten
about
into a
like
lot of
he's like
trouble
this
for
is
it.
not pro one way or another, it's just common sense, and so like he says like it does include direct comments to like
Certain
the
current events,
the
basically.
the British Constitution, I think it was, or whatever it was. I think it was a Constitution.
But
To the British Constitution, and that's because of like the events and whatnot. But it was actually pretty. It's actually pretty cool. He talks about like the king, and he talks about back in the Bible days, like kings coming around and everything, and how those weren't supposed to come around because like the Israelites were like worshiping him, and they instead of like God and everything. And like he's like there were good kings like David, but kings like just kings are bad like as a general rule, and all this stuff is pretty cool. It's pretty deep, and I
okay, so
That's
the
a powerful
reason
quote.
the reason I asked you those questions is because we did an episode like that, and I'm thinking for the future, anytime we have a guest on, we're gonna have a few questions at the start that we're gonna ask all our guests that come on,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be one of them.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
favorite books, and then one of the other questions, something else we discussed, is if you could live in any other time period, what would it be? Any other era?
see I actually heard this the other day. I've been thinking about it. So like you could say like I want to live in the Middle Ages,
Yeah.
back,
yeah.
Crusades, whatever thought you may think as a guy, but you have so much issue with diseases and everything else. Like the living was actually terrible back in those
Yes.
days,
Oh,
just
I
like
see
the
what you're
everyday
saying.
living. If you go back to like the like 17th century or anything like that, there's a lot of wilderness and all that, which calls to me. But once again, like doctors and whatnot are all very scarce and have horrible practices like slitting your wrist to drain out the bad blood, which is whenever you have a disease. Like,
Yeah.
it's totally helpful. And so without the modern advancements in like medical technology, any time in the past is pretty bleak as far as your existence. But I probably it probably would be something like 17th century in America, like exploring the frontier. 16th, whatever.
17th would be the 1600s.
Yeah.
So 17th. That's what I was asking. I didn't know if you wanted 17th or 18th, like during the Revolution. I wasn't sure where you're going.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, we could do like 18th. I could go exploring with Daniel Boone. Whatever.
That's why I was
But
checking to make sure.
Somewhere in that time period.
Since some people like think 17th and they think 17th means 1700s, I just want to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in that time period.
So, something I've been wanting to talk about that I think would be interesting is injuries.
I've never had any injuries.
What was your worst injury? So, Josh, do you want to go first for this one?
Worst injury? I haven't actually really had any terrible injuries in my life, surprisingly enough. Yeah, I would say I haven't broken any bones, but I think I broke my thumb once upon a time, and I may have broken my sister's jaw. So, I mean, like...
Broke someone else's bones.
Yeah.
All right, so what was your worst injury, though?
I can't say I've
Anything
never
that you can
broken
think
any
of
bones.
that's...
The one thing that's standing out to me is one time I jumped out of a John boat on a trailer when I was playing with my dog, and I screwed up my ankle real bad. He actually walked outside as I was trying to walk down to the house. I had like a rake under my arm trying to like hobble my way back down. He came outside and was like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "No, I'm fine." Like chucked the rake, like tried to hobble down the house.
Yeah.
And I was like, you could have convinced me that I like dislocated my ankle because I was like hobbling around. It was so swollen up. And then like one day my aunt came out and she had like twin boys. And she had like these backpack carriers. So I put on one of the backpack carriers with my screwed up ankle to carry one of the boys. And I walked down to the pond. And like during that day at some time like my ankle just like got better. Like I actually like ran back up to the house and stuff like. Wow. So you could convince me that like I popped my ankle out of socket and like I popped it back in place somehow.
So unlike Josh, I've had quite a few injuries, ranging from cutting fingers to the bone, ripping open my wrist with a rake, sticking a frog gig in my hand. Shattering my tib fib and having to have surgery. Got metal inside of my ankle now.
That was
Metal detector always goes off.
Blowing out my shoulder. Have to have surgery on that. Got a button in my bicep holding it up there. Well, by now it should be healed, but it was holding it up there.
Say,
but probably the worst one was
with
shattering
all
the
of
tib
his
fib.
injuries, we are actually tied on surgeries though.
No, I have more.
I thought you had more operations.
So,
Well, we're at the same amount of surgeries. Like we've gone
under the same amount of times, but several of my surgeries are technically separate surgeries. But they did it all at once.
I see.
So I've technically had more.
Like he had his tonsils and adenoids removed, and so
Well,
like both of those are operations.
But like, so with my
But
ankle,
then,
it was
like-
actually two separate surgeries. With my shoulder, it was actually two separate surgeries
But they did them at the same time. Cause
that they did all at once. So technically, we've been under, I think, about
I
the same
see.
amount of times. But just recently, my hip is still messed up from getting thrown off a horse 2 days in a row, and getting hurt pretty bad from that. So yeah, lots of fun.
Ooh.
So, anyways,
How- Before I go, how was that experience going under? I've never gone
Going under?
Yeah.
Okay, like the first
what's that?
the first 2 times I went under, they like poisoned me with like bubblegum, fake bubblegum.
I was because he was
gas.
little. Whenever you're younger, they give you like this like sweet tasting like gas
yeah.
stuff. That
I actually was there, and the doctor told me to breathe because I ain't breathing. You know, disgusting.
like what kind of
bubblegum gas.
concentration camp
Like
is this?
seriously, like it was terrible.
Like no, I will not take
Like,
the
have you
showers.
had, like the bubblegum flavored like antibiotics.
Yeah,
Or
like
mouthwash.
grape or
Yeah. Like imagine that as a gas.
Just blowing
Trying
in your
to
face.
breathe.
yeah.
Like
This
how
funky
that
gas.
tastes. Like it's like
yeah, like
and then like it was like breathing that. It was terrible. And then going under the other time,
They give you
jabbed
like,
me
medicine.
They jabbed me with the something. I can't remember what it was. So like it
Yep.
made me like feel real weird, and so I like don't remember like when I went under.
Yeah.
Like they
They give you the medication and you just start like.
well no, they gave me something before that. Like I don't remember what it was, but like it was before they knocked me out. They
Nice.
gave me something. And
So it was, but it wasn't like scary or.
I mean, that going under itself isn't
Yeah.
like a forehand when you still got mental faculties or whatever. That's different. But
I didn't know if it was.
dude, probably the scariest part of that was so I was getting my appendix removed, and they did a CAT scan. So they take you to this giant donut, and they hook up to your IV. I think it was on this side.
Which you can't do a CAT scan now, right?
I can.
They have this super movie style torture device. It's like 2 giant tubes like this big, like clear tubes with like plungers or whatever. It's like on a device attached to the CAT scan that they hook up to your IV.
He's a little dramatic.
No, like legit.
I've
And
had
that
this
was-
done multiple times.
No, this was the contrast.
I know. I've had it done
I'll
multiple
say,
times.
And so like there's these 2 giant like injector deals that are like clear that you can like see in. It's got like electric plungers and stuff, and it just goes like, and like that's how they inject the contrast. I'm like, that is horrifying, people.
See, I've had 2 CT
Give me
scans
a
with
drip-
contrast,
give
and
me a
I've had
drip
it.
line.
Yeah.
What happened to
And
that?
I've had an MRI with contrast, and MRIs are way worse than CAT scans just because they take so much longer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, typically, They're
Mm-hmm.
not always, but I mean your typical MRI. So, anyways,
Well,
for
while
your
you guys
story-
were talking, I have 2 now.
okay, well there we go.
The first one, 'cause I forgot this. When you talked about rolling your ankle, I thought about this basketball injury I had. So I'm downtown, and I'm playing ball. That was basketball. Probably should have been downtown playing basketball. No, it was fun. And I'm balling, boom, boom, and I'm jumping up to get this rebound. This is a full court game, 5-on-5, just random guys downtown doing this. Jumping up to get the rebound, and this guy's elbows come down hard, and it hit me right here, this left eye. I don't know if you got. I'm sure you guys
Yeah.
remember. So it started to. Well, it hurt
You're good.
really
Sorry, there's a
intensely.
truck driving by outside
I
very
thought that
loudly.
was like music. I was like, wow, I didn't know he had that. It's like that's
Sound
okay.
effects.
Yeah. It's like, man, play that when I'm telling stories again. And I just felt this strong pain, but I'm no quitter, so I'm like, yeah, let's keep going, let's play. And then one guy's like, you're bleeding. I was like, oh, it's fine. It's just, just wipe it away. And it's like, he was like, no, it's open.
It's fun. I did something stupid on a car accident one time, and I slipped my wrist on a glass.
Ooh.
But I did it. I was looking for her license or whatever. Her license was on her keys, so it was in the sunroof. So
Oh, yeah.
The car was rolled
it
over,
was on
so
its
he's
side,
reaching
so we were
through the
going through the
sunroof
sunroof
because
is
it
what
was
I was-
right there on the side. Yeah.
But so I finish up with that, and then I'm sitting there and I just feel something wet on my wrist. So I was like, I know exactly what that is.
Ooh.
So I went back to the truck and was cleaning myself up. And so sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I feel the blood now. I feel the blood now.
Yeah, exactly. And it split open. Thankfully, nothing was wrong with the eye itself. That was a big
a whole nother thing.
thank God moment, because it was like this eyelid right here. You probably zoom in. This eyelid right here. No, was it? It was like right here. It was like the bone actually.
Yeah.
Kind of just. So that was the one injury. Downtown, which is that way, just about. The other injury happened over here, right here on this property. It was 5 years ago. Time kind of just runs all together. But I'm visiting at this point during my spring break.
Yeah.
Right? It was my spring break, and I'm here on this property.
Hey Josh, you want to go take care of that while he continues this story?
Big airsoft big airsoft guys here, and
We haven't played as much recently in a while.
yeah, for whatever reason. And they had a whole makeshift arena back there, and it was really fun.
Pretty legit.
Yeah, it was legit. And this is my first time actually playing airsoft. I'm a big paintball guy. I love paintball. I've gone several times to paintball arenas and just doing paintball with my friends. And it's CO2 in a can, and you put the paintball in on the top, and you have these.
And as a general rule,
Paintball
paintball fields are much cleaner. It's like they have an area, and this is our paintball field, and they set up their stuff. Whereas we're more into like the more milsim side of things, so it's more rough woods. Like we'll go, take a weed eater and clear a few paths out, and then like through like the woods, and then like we have an open section where it's like building, and like there's a car and some like tons of structures and stuff. But like a lot of it is just raw land that's not been cleaned or anything.
Yeah.
And so I felt, or I love the adrenaline of paintball and just the pain, I loved playing No Mercy because I know my friends would give out before me. And so it just really fun. So this is my first time playing airsoft. So I come over here and I'm wearing black pants, navy sweatshirt. It was a spring break, and so it's not that hot. And so with airsoft, they're more realistic guns, more heavier. Well,
it varies,
give or take. But the BBs, I think the BBs hurt more.
It especially depends on where you get hit.
They say it depends because like you'll get welts with airsoft,
whereas
paintball
you get more bruises. So it
So,
kind of depends on where you get hit. Like
I'll say like it can be like a really sharp sting in airsoft, whereas you end up with like a big bruise.
So you take like a BB to like your neck or your head or your knuckles. Oh my goodness, knuckles and the ears
dude,
are the worst
knuckles
place.
are bad.
Yeah.
Like that stings like crazy.
It's playing paintball. I left with very few bruises because I was just always moving and just the adrenaline is like and boom pumping. But with airsoft, man, I felt like I got lit up so many times because it's smaller ammo and there's more ammo as opposed to paintball. You're stopping in the middle of a game like, okay, keep going.
This I drop mag, just throw it back up in there and keep going.
And so we were playing. Was it team deathmatch or?
I believe so.
I think it was just like a team deathmatch.
So this one was a particular team deathmatch. We played several. One was a like King of the Hill kind of deal where you held the little
the building.
Stuff. That was fun. That was scary and
that was a lot because everything was close quarters.
Yeah. That was
getting shot like 3 feet away.
It's like
or less sometimes.
I'm always scared of how bad it's gonna hurt. And
like it's fun. It's always the most
not
fun
really
version.
that bad. So like I've told myself it's been a long time since we played, and I'm like, okay, next time we play, like I just want to go like all out, like because it's not like you get so hyped up like in your head, like before a game or whatever, and it's not that bad. Like whenever you get shot. And so like I'm like I've been telling myself I'm like next time we play like like for, like especially for like storm the building, like the only way to win that
is to storm the building.
Is to just go in there like flat out sprint in the doorway, just like and so
with this particular game we were doing team deathmatch, and like he said, it's woods, trees. I mean,
just lots. There's trees. There's like briar patches,
spiders,
thorns,
like it's
spiders.
There's cactus plants.
There are snakes out there, Ron. The spiders are not my big
cactus
concern.
plants and other prickly stuff. And there's brush everywhere.
A beat up forge you guys have out there. That's pretty epic. And so I'm trying to plank these guys, the other team. So I'm making my rounds to go somewhere they can't see me, and I'm sneaking up, and so I'm running. And I got spotted, and so I was running back, and I ran into a
Branch.
Like some
branch or
brush.
something. Yeah, brush. That's
Yeah,
because I ran into some brush and I was like, ooh, started to limp a little bit, but caught myself, kept going.
Adrenaline in the moment. It's
Yeah,
like, gotta
exactly.
go. Don't want to get shot.
Get a shot. Adrenaline there, and looked at the wound. It was actually a wound, and where I saw some wood at the end of it, and so brushed the wood out. Looked, I was like, okay, nothing's left. So we continue our game. I don't even know if we won or lost, whatever. So we keep going on with life. Spring break ends, and I'm back at Bible college down at Florida. And summer comes, and I help out a church this particular summer in Kansas, Olathe, Kansas. And so I'm there preaching for this church, helping them out. And I worked at a full-time Boys and Girls Club that summer also. And during my time there, my left knee starts to bubble. Like just this random bubble just bubbles on my left knee here. And I am like, okay, like what in the world is this? And so I'm going and I'm like moving it around and I feel there's something in there. And so I'm getting a little concerned because I'm
like, oh no, I got a tumor.
right? Yeah.
Cancer.
Trying to figure out what this was. And then it hit me. I was like, this is the same spot where I had that run in with the branch back here. And so I go immediately to the emergency. And it was actually a Roman Catholic emergency room. Like just emergency. It wasn't the hospital. It was like just emergencies. Kind of like I've lost the words. But so I show up here and this guy says, yeah, there's something in there, we'll operate. So I guess I have had an operation on me, I guess.
Yeah.
And so he
They should
does
have to
that.
put you under for it.
No, he didn't.
He
didn't have to put me under. He did numb this
Yeah.
little area here, and it was so weird.
It's a weird sensation.
It was so weird. The sensation, but also I was awake, and he slit that thing open, and was like moving all in there. And he was like, "Do you feel that?" I was like, "No." And that is the weirdest thing. It's like, I see that you are in my left knee here, and I don't feel anything. So he goes in there. He takes out a piece of wood about like this long. And he said, yeah, there was something in there, all right.
I mean, it was a piece of a branch, so I mean,
yeah.
it was
Oh, just like a little
stick or
chunk.
so, right?
Yeah,
I want to say it was,
I think it was like this long.
I'll say it was a nice little chunk
it
of
was
wood.
so it wasn't like a little sliver,
No.
like he had a piece
No.
of a stick inside of it.
Yeah, it was like this long and like probably like this wide. Like it was like, hey, I'm in here. And so I probably had that surgery or operation. I don't know what's the right verbiage there. I think it was towards the end of July, August, and spring break was my spring break with this Bible college was in April. So that was almost a 4-month time span.
Yeah.
Where this piece of wood is just chilling in there. And I thought to myself, why didn't my body say, hey?
Like, fun fact, your body will actually work like that stuff out. So like if you get a splinter, you'll slowly work it out. So like then you have like things like porcupine quills. So the American porcupine, their quills are barbed, so they can't come back out very easily the way they go in. So your body still tries to work it out. So the path of least resistance is further in. So in theory, at the rate which your body moves it, if you've got a quill stuck in your hand on this side, in a couple years, it'll completely pass through and go back out the other side.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, your body tries to do it, and so that's probably whenever it bubbled up and stuff. It's probably moving up, but then it's like it's stuck. It's a chunk.
Yeah.
It's not like a little sliver that it can work its way out. It's like a chunk, And then it got really angry, probably
yeah,
because of that.
it
It's
was
like
finally like.
I'm at the edge, but I can't do anything.
Yeah, the other thing is that wound healed the initial entry point.
Yeah,
and
so it was all sealed up.
It couldn't go out anywhere. But yeah, that was the most bizarre.
Quite an experience.
It was pretty funny hearing about later because like we knew he got little pieces and he tried to get him out there. And it's just like, all right,
we
yeah,
went
it's
over
good.
there. We looked at it. It was like, yeah, nothing's there.
And then
I didn't feel
like
anything
later,
either.
it's like there was actually a piece still stuck. Oh wow.
And not like, next day or next week. Like,
Nope.
it was months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And,
wow.
mean, between those 4 time spans, 4 months, played basketball at college, ran, jogged,
Yeah.
and my knee was fine. Like it wasn't like, oh man, I've lost mobility.
So we can come up with all kinds of
Man.
interesting stories from playing
funny.
airsoft.
Mm.
I mean, even like down to the fact that it was the Saturday before Easter, Easter Sunday, and I got shot right between my helmet and my goggles at
A huge welt on his
probably
face.
5 feet away. You're just like, boom, this massive welt for all our Easter pictures.
Our mother wasn't very happy.
I gotta see those pictures.
It was-
I didn't know this.
It was Adrian who did it.
Oh, nice.
So like we see him again the next Sunday. It's like, yeah, you like what you did? Like,
Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Fun times. Fun times.
my cousin lit him up one day in the back, just like several times, and like so we get back to the house or whatever, and like
Got like
pulls up his
7
shirt or
bloody spots
whatever.
on my back.
And he's like, Josh, take a picture of this. So like we go to take a picture. My cousin grabs the phone and like does this like with his back and the welts on his back. So we've got like a picture of him taking a selfie next to these welts on
like,
Ben's back.
This is my
Like-
masterpiece.
It's like, I did that. No, it was me.
It's pretty fun. We'll definitely have to talk about airsoft more, especially if we get some of the people we want to get on for guests.
Yeah.
More stories.
Lots of fun
Different
stories.
perspective.
We're all very competitive, so I mean,
That's
We've been
that doesn't
a
help.
couple
There've been a handful
couple
of times where tensions
well
got-
handled rational debates on the field.
totally.
That's how we're gonna say it.
So yeah. Anyways, I think this is probably a pretty good episode for not having too much of a topic we're gonna talk about. It's just
No
pretty
guideline.
solid.
yeah.
This was our planned, unplanned episode.
I had ideas for
Next time,
filler.
I'll
Loose
come up
ideas.
with my own not plans.
Yes. I had ideas for filler content if we needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw a toe. Anyways, that was random.
People
well, I mean,
outside the
it
door.
was the toe was in a sock. The toes were in a sock. Anyways,
I don't know.
Excuse me.
People are outside our door. Or something. I don't know. That or Ron's just seeing things.
yeah. Talk about a ghost. Last episode.
Anyways,
And
well,
so
we will see y'all in the next episode. It's been fun. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, whatever you got to do to follow us.
Okay, all I need y'all to do is subscribe. Like, if doing all 3 of those things is too much, just subscribe. Come back for the next video. We'd be glad to have you again.
yeah, valid stuff.
Some good
Ben,
advice.
what is your good advice?
My good advice is